In our seemingly hopeless fight for net neutrality over here in the States, it's sometimes easy to forget about or be completely oblivious of laws that are moving forward elsewhere that could also result in the downfall of the internet as we know it. We've praised European internet regulations in the past, like the recent GDPR or General Data Protection Regulation, which makes it harder for big companies to use and potentially profit off of people's private data, and also the right to be forgotten policy, which, when used properly, would allow people to request the removal of things detrimental to their professional lives after an extended period of time. Things like revenge porn, or even stupid photos that you took when you were young.
Or like a video of you at a techno festival with your shirt off and people are like, he looks like a Viking.
Yeah.
And you're walking down the street being a techno Viking. You can sue those people
You might
to
think
death.
he's cool, but he might think that he's embarrassed.
And he was. He was. The right to be forgotten policy is obviously ripe for abuse, though, as many people in public service positions could theoretically scrub terrible shit that they should be held accountable for from the internet. It's our belief that people growing up these days with the internet at their disposal in ways never seen before will make stupid decisions, they will post things they regret, and so on as you transition into your adult life. You might not want a stupid picture of you smoking weed at 16 to be something that people can find when searching for you.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. Still, that's hard to police, and it's going to most likely be abused. Regardless, for the past few years, we've been entirely focused on net neutrality and the potential damage that taking it away could do to the internet as a whole. And right now, over in Europe, they're about to vote on 2 articles that could not only entirely change the internet as they know it, but also have plenty of ripple effects over here as well.
Yeah, as we all know, we probably won't benefit too much from the good regulations, but we'll almost certainly always fall victim to the bad ones. And the ones that are going up for a vote on Wednesday, yeah, they're pretty bad and have huge implications. The 2 in question are Article 13 and Article 11 of the Proposal for a Directive of the European Parliament and the Council of Copyright in the Digital Single Market. Sounds boring. Let's explain. Now, we're just going to refer to them as their article numbers going forward, obviously, because it would be very confusing. Now, to get it out of the way really quick, because it has less of an effect on the general population, Article 11. Article 11 refers to a link tax, and according to the Next Web, quote, would force anyone using snippets of journalistic online content to get a license for the publisher first, essentially outlawing current business models of most aggregators and news apps. So yeah, what we just did right there, that would be a problem because we would need to contact, get permission, and possibly pay for simply referencing or quoting something to explain the news. More so on when you're hosting it on a website, but you get the picture.
No, don't take me to one of your prisons, Europe. Don't.
It's the new debtor's prison.
No, I don't want those 3 square meals from your European prison and all of that open space to walk around in outside in my own clothing. Please don't. That's what I've heard at least. Anyway, Article 11 is more geared towards companies like Facebook and Google who use news readers and share content through their platforms to gain views. In theory, it would allow news organizations and others to go after them for simply linking to their work or having it appear in their aggregators. But like most things dealing with the policing of the internet, it's written in the broadest and most dangerous possible terms. But back to the one that's surely going to piss you off if you live in the EU and should probably make you nervous if you live anywhere else and like creating or sharing dank memes or any other type of transformative creation. Because Article 13 is going to make memes illegal.
Yeah, dun dun. Now, obviously that's a pretty harsh and matter-of-fact way to explain it, but it sure as hell is going to cause the creation and distribution of memes to be far more difficult than ever before because it lays out new ground rules regarding copyright protection and who is responsible for policing image or video sharing. We're going to try to break it down into simpler terms for you in an attempt to get to the root of the problem here. Okay, so you know how a majority of memes out there are just images from cartoons or TV shows or movies that are used as a visual reference to the joke someone's trying to tell? Someone, believe it or not, actually owns the rights to SpongeBob, Star Wars, Shrek, The Simpsons, and so on and so forth. Article 13 would make it so that the platforms that memes like these are shared on would be responsible for the copyright infringement of their users and would need to police all posts or create upload filters, aka what they're calling censorship machines, that will recognize and remove anything that infringes on a copyright.
I mean, I know one person who would be okay with this. Matt Fury, creator of Pepe the Frog.
Yeah, he'd like this.
Anyway, an example of a censorship machine
Yeah.
would be something like YouTube's Content ID system, where companies, brands, music labels, and more can upload their original works to YouTube. YouTube then analyzes that work, and then it's able to identify when one of its users is stealing that item by re-uploading it in its entirety or something that's been edited down. It's how YouTube can catch music extremely well when it's being used in a video. Now, okay, we're speaking in extreme, hypothetical, doomsday scenarios, ones that could actually come true but haven't yet. But you would essentially wave goodbye to stuff like GIF keyboards, memes with text on them, or potentially even including an image underneath a tweet or post if it contains work that belongs to someone else, even if it's considered fair use or transformative, because there's no clarification for such things in the article itself as it currently stands.
Bye-bye, GIF keyboard. I loved you while you were here. Now I'm never going to visit Europe again.
Back in my day, you could tweet out anything.
They just let it happen. Now, no longer will I be able to go to Oktoberfest, get drunk as shit, and then meme something that I think is brilliant at the time.
Yeah, can't do it. That's a crime.
Maybe it's for the best.
They're gonna throw you in that German prison. They're gonna give you a big old stack of books to read. They're gonna cook you a hot meal.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll learn something.
Delicious pork shoulder and beer every night. Anyways,
I don't know if I'm really rehabilitated, guys.
I'm having a great time. We're joking. But back on that write-up from the Next Web, they spoke to Regan MacDonald, who is a senior policy manager and EU principal at Mozilla, who said, among other things, that there isn't a clear fair use clause in the reform, so she fears that parody, satire, and even protest videos are at risk as they could get caught up in and removed by such filters. Therefore, we might see a lot of legitimate speech censored. Adding that, quote, Article 13 will be the most tangible change for citizens. What the average internet user will see is a lot of changes in the way their open platforms function, on comment sections, on coding platforms, on basically everything where copyrighted content could be.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So this is all on the backs of the platforms as well, and typically they're gonna wanna cover their asses by being overly protective through the use of sometimes, almost always, imperfect AI, rather than approach this with any kind of human decision or monitoring, because that would cost a fortune, and it's simply impossible based on the amount of traffic that these large sites have. Anyway, this whole copyright reform thing goes up for a vote on Wednesday the 20th, which if you're watching this today,
In Europe.
in Europe, that's right now. So there will be a decision made shortly, or there just was.
Yeah.
Luckily, it seems as though the people voting on it are still split on their support of the issue, so hopefully nothing crazy happens tomorrow, and at the very least, they'll all step back, take a deep breath, remove their heads from their asses, and either fine-tune this stuff or toss it out entirely.
Yeah, maybe just wait a little bit, now that everyone's spoken up about it.
Memes are how a lot of us get through the day,
Yeah.
Mr. European Union.
It's the last thing I have left. If I can't laugh about SpongeBob doing something silly,
I don't know if you've looked around recently.
things aren't so great all the
Other
time.
than memes, we don't have a whole lot.
But to end today's episode on a bit of a lighter note, we have a pretty damn great analysis of the marketing, the very strange marketing, behind that Gotti movie, spelled G-O-T-T-I, not Gotti, like weird, gross stuff. But
Maybe both.
yeah, okay. It's that movie starring John Travolta, who really thought he was gonna get an award for his acting in this movie.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna happen. Anyways, this comes from Dan Murrell of Screen Junkies. While prepping for an episode of their show Charting, he noticed something strange about the Rotten Tomatoes page for Gotti, which, if you're not aware, Gotti received a 0% critic score on that website.
Yikes.
If you look at the audience score for the movie, there's a lot of positive reviews for the film, bringing it to the upper 70% range based on audience reaction. What's weird here is that Gotti is a very small movie, opening on only 500 screens, but somehow, some way, got nearly 7,000 user reviews, whereas other recent movies like Ocean's 8 and The Incredibles 2, which opened on thousands more screens, all have similar numbers when it comes to audience reaction.
Huh.
A bit weird.
Huh. Yeah, so strange, but not entirely impossible. All right, yeah, actually, it's pretty much impossible in our opinion, but
Yeah.
regardless, Dan Murrell went on to compare a film that had a similar opening to Gotti called Beirut. Now, Beirut opened on a similar number of screens. It had a decent critical review, and it still only managed to get 708 user reviews over the course of 2 months, which is nothing compared to the amount that Gotti received from all those Gotti fans out there.
In one weekend.
Yeah. Then came the new marketing campaign for Gotti, where the company behind it was actually using these audience versus critics numbers to market the movie, saying in a tweet, audiences loved Gotti, but critics don't want you to see it. The question is, why? Trust the people and see for yourself.
You fucking pussy.
Are you a bad enough dude to go see a movie that no critics enjoyed?
You know who you hate? The critics. They probably, like on Facebook, they probably sent this, they probably did a post like this, and they were like, who do you want to target? And they were like, DC fans, Justice League fans, Batman v Superman fans, basically anyone that likes any of the, they're like, these people, they hate critics. But the whole thing is just like, you think you're smarter than a critic? Prove it by seeing Gotti right now.
Yeah.
They think they're better than you.
Critics said you shouldn't see it. You know what? You should see it.
Anyways, Miro quoted that tweet and then said this, okay, I'll just come out and say it. Some party involved with Gotti artificially manipulated the audience scores, and they're now using it as a marketing strategy. The numbers don't even make sense. Even if that were true, this is a divisive and desperate way to sell a film.
Yeah, it looks real bad.
Now, to add to that, as this was spreading, some Redditors dug through the audience reviews and found the following info. Of the first 58 reviewers with an available profile, 45 had created their account on June 2018. Out of these 45, 32 have only reviewed Gotti. 10 reviewed Gotti and another movie. 7 times it was American Animals for some reason. And 3 had more than 3 reviews. The American Animals thing is suspicious because, as another user had pointed out, the rights to both American Animals and Gotti were purchased by the same company. That company? Elliot, who is it?
MoviePass Ventures. Remember we told you how MoviePass was buying a movie studio that made mostly crap? Well, on that roster of crap was Gotti and American Animals. So,
It all comes back to MoviePass every episode.
I'm not really sure what their game is here, but MoviePass, they need money real bad. And, you know, you pay a couple of click farms in Bangladesh to type up some fake reviews for one of the shit tier turd films that you just bought for no discernible reason. That's better than doing nothing, I guess, until you get caught by a fucking YouTube movie critic.
The thing with MoviePass that I find so endearing is that it sounds like a room filled with executives and then younger people who have what would seem to executives great ideas.
Yeah.
But in practice are horrible, both monetarily and marketing wise.
Oh, we're starting a tech company. I'm gonna get my son on board. He's great with the cyber.
But that's the thing is like, to an executive, it's like, wow, what a brilliant idea. Like Rotten Tomatoes, you can skew the score for a movie simply by leaving reviews.
How many should we buy? 200, 300? 7,000.
Let's buy more
really
than...
drive the point home.
Yeah, buy more than the movie probably actually sold in tickets. A friend told a friend, and that friend really believed his friend about the movie.
I just love this. I hope they get banned from Rotten Tomatoes.
Like Steam, when people are boosting their own Steam reviews.
Yeah.
You're lucky Gaben's not in charge of Rotten Tomatoes.
I wish Gaben was in charge of MoviePass. Actually, no, I don't. They'd probably turn a profit.
Yeah. What do you mean it costs $30 a month now? Well, you see, it costs money for us to, provide this service.
Yeah.
Anyways, what a hilarious ending to that. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Hit the bell and watch our 2 newest videos. We have a brand new episode of Idiots Watching Anime where we watch One Punch Man. And then we also have a new episode where there's a lot of misinformation about this gaming disorder thing. And we try to clear it up. But we also got the accents wrong. It was actually Scottish kids and not Irish kids. That was my bad. I'm sorry. But
it's very sensitive.
I just rewatched Sing Street and I thought that I was dead on with knowing the accents. You got to drive it like you stole it. Bye.
It's a great movie.